This 10-minute video shows a toy ambulance going off at random, even though it normally requires someone to hold down the red buttons on top to make any noise. What's really weird is that it seems to respond to the voice of a child. Maybe it's just me, but it almost seems as though the ambulance was waiting for the child to count to a certain number here.
9, 10, 11, 12.
It goes off a few other times, most when the child is speaking or about to speak. Oddly enough, both of these clips seem to involve the number 12. A sound was heard outside, and this resident went to check it out. What he saw was terrifying. The resident is captured on camera out on his terrace, looking around with a flashlight. While scanning the area several times, something disconcerting shows up on one of the sweeps of the grounds. Watch the right-hand side of the screen. Did you see her? This resident sure did. It's past midnight at a police station in Pahang, Malaysia. A quiet crew plays chess to help pass the time, completely unaware of something that stays 2 moves ahead.
Siap pasang lilin apa? Astagfirullah! Ya Allah! Selesai! Keluar! Mudah! Ya Allah! Azan!
The faint outline of a figure leaves them fearfully singing for protection and clambering over each other to stay far away. A different police video taken 10 years later shows more scary things that are just beyond creepy. In the darkness looms a mysterious figure, not wearing a reflective vest like everyone else, that also does not reveal any detail whatsoever, even when directly under the high-powered beam of a police flashlight. Not to mention those crying noises coming from the woods. It could be speakers, but I really doubt the police would be wasting time faking paranormal videos, so either this is a joke being played on them, or else these scary ghost videos are actually real. I want to get the opinions of people from Malaysia, where this video was made, to help me decide if these creepy videos are real, or part of a viral trend, or what. Either way, you know the paranormal activity's bad, when even the police are too afraid to do something about it. Not that there's much they can do.
Don't start going up! Stop! Please, go! Guys, stop!
A bus driver in Alfred, New York was accused of drinking and driving and was given a 90-day jail sentence. The event was caught on camera after 56-year-old Martha Thompson was ordered by students to stop operating the bus, an order that was ignored. There were 37 students on the bus after Thompson took them at a 70-mile-per-hour clip through their journey, hit a mailbox, and even started rolling backwards down a hill, as can be seen in the video. The older students tried to convince Thompson to stop, but she was defiant. They kept insisting that she was not okay and should turn off the vehicle. When she continued to refuse, they accused her of scaring the small children on the bus, which she was. When she also refused to open the door, the older kids took matters into their own hands and began shepherding the students out the back door emergency exit, while Thompson repeatedly shouted, "You can't get off the bus." Thompson's defense attorney said she never ever would intentionally put any of those children in any type of risk. The fact that my client has no criminal history, no one was injured, but this has been a really good thing because it's turned her life around and now she's getting the help that she needs. While it's all very well and good that the driver is getting help, her blood alcohol level was 0.15. The DMV notes a BAC of 0.04 for commercial drivers can result in a DUI or DWI conviction nationwide. She's incredibly lucky that no children were harmed in this incident of negligence. This one is out of sight. Published by Grid Synergy in November of 2017, this scary security footage was filmed in a computer lab at night. A man is working across two computers when an alarm sounds, jarring him to turn around. Clearly confused about what this alarm is for, the man gets up to look. After the alarm doesn't repeat, the man sits back down at his desk, satisfied that it must be nothing, but then a loud bang is heard. And after a moment off screen, a lot more racket is heard, followed by the man clearly fleeing in fear. He couldn't get out of there fast enough. What drove him to flee? With the man now gone, a strange creak is heard, followed by another loud bang. If only we could see what was happening off screen. Be careful what you wish for. This video allows a 360 view of what's going on. Head back to when the bang is heard. A light turns on in a room next to a foosball table. When the man heads off screen, he is heading over to check out this room. He looks in but sees nothing, though he picks something up off the floor. Perhaps this is what caused the noise. When he heads out again, he switches off the light. That's when the racket happens. The door slams and a chair shoots back from a desk in front of him. The man flees the scene, the light turns on in the room again, and this figure's reflection is seen in the window. As I said, be careful what you wish for, because now you can't unsee it. A group of friends are exploring an abandoned house, but they get no further than the front door before they get freaked out by a possible ghost sighting. According to the description, if you look closely at the right side of the window, you'll see a shadow figure looking at them. Take a look at what they've caught on tape and tell me if you see a shadow figure on the right.
No, that's a shadow, that's shadow, that's shadow.
At first, I thought they were maybe talking about this shadowy figure down here, which is on the right like they say, but I'm pretty sure that's the shadow of the person holding the camera, and what could be a glowing eye is actually light from their camera too. Also, the person in a red shirt who sees the shadow figure is pointing in an entirely different direction. Like I said, I don't see anything paranormal in this video, but every single person in the comments says there is a shadow figure caught on camera if you look close enough. Just because I don't see it doesn't mean one isn't there. Somebody help me out because I want to know what they are looking at. When you do see it, apparently it's really scary. There's not a lot of information available about this video. Besides that it was broadcast live somewhere in Albania. Two radio personalities are having a spirited discussion when suddenly they are interrupted by something that neither of them can explain.
Pjesa më e madhe janë pushim dhe po e shijojnë dhe një ditë mrekullueshme që është për jashtë. Wow.
Ç'ishte?
Tüchtiger.
A newspaper flies up on its own in the middle of their conversation, and you don't have to speak the language to see the genuine surprise written all over the man's face as it happens. Still, I would really appreciate it if anyone who speaks Albanian could tell me what was being said, or tell me more about their show if you recognize them. I've watched this video many times, and I see no strings attached to the newspaper or anything like that. Obviously, it can't be magnets either. So if it's not magnets or string, then what could it possibly be besides a haunting? We've all done it, almost choked on something while distracted. But what should you do if you find yourself in this position while you're alone? This CCTV footage shows how a guy almost passed away while prepping a restaurant to open. The guy is doing his rounds, wiping down tables and getting everything in order, when suddenly he slows down, hitting his chest a couple times. It's clear something is going wrong, but he doesn't seem too concerned yet. He attempts to continue with his tasks for a moment, but then realizes this is serious. Walking to the middle of the floor, he bends to touch his knees and appears to be trying to stay calm. As he continues to pound his chest and bend over, trying to eject the piece of gum that's lodged in his throat, he starts to panic. He cannot breathe. He attempts to shout for help, but nothing comes out. While panicking more and more and getting increasingly unsteady from lack of air, he attempts to give himself the Heimlich with his hands. Still nothing. He then positions a chair to give him the Heimlich, bending over it and trying to fall the right way, having already gone a couple minutes without breathing. He does this a few times. No luck. It's starting to look like a lost cause, but at the last second, the gum ejects from his throat. He is able to stand up again and looks incredibly relieved, as he should. He nearly passed away from a piece of gum. This video, posted by a man in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh, claims to be targeted by locals after converting to beliefs that's unpopular in the area. Men with their faces covered visit their house with a red canister filled with what I presume is gasoline and threaten to burn the place down. They seem genuinely ready to rip the door down and tear this family apart, especially when they pull out a huge blade and throw it at the door in a display of disgust. Here's the twist. According to a local news source in the area, the video is staged and was made by a family seeking asylum in America. Their anger is quite convincing, and the family really does look scared. So I want your opinion on if you think this is a performance or really a family in distress. How would you spend 30 minutes alone in an abandoned cartel hotel? This video, posted by Southern Afterlife Paranormal TV in January of 2020, puts truth or dare to the test. When Josh and Todd take a half hour to themselves in the abandoned hotel at 3 a.m. The Alone Challenge saw the two partners split up in the highly graffitied abandoned hotel, terrifying themselves with unsettling noises and even more unsettling feelings. At 2 minutes 13 seconds, a viewer points out that it appears someone is standing in the doorway at the end of the hall. When Josh flashes his light, at around 3 minutes 48 seconds, a scary sound is heard, almost like a cabinet being shut.
What that was.
At around 5 minutes 40 seconds, Josh finds an upside down cross that's wet. He believes from the cold and dampness of the hotel. At around 14 minutes, he believes he smells fresh paint. Maybe some invisible graffiti artist is there to touch up their artwork. Most in the comments agree this place has an awful and uber creepy atmosphere. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, live people could be lurking around any corner. Don't know if I'd want to run into either in this nightmare hotel. Can you feel the evil in this house of satanic worship? YouTuber Chris L. Luna can. She and Laura Rivas enter to see what evil it holds. While touring the place, they find a bottle of black magic liquid inside.
Mira los espíritus. ¿Oíste?
Sí.
As they continue, something appears to confront Chris L.
Cuidado, ¿sí lo puedo agarrar? Sí.
Laura sprays what I assume is an antidote on her, and they continue on. In another room, they spot a portal drawn on the wall and hear laughter.
Las risas. ¡Cállate! Se están riendo, ve afuera. ¿Cómo se empezó a mover? Se están riendo de nosotros, Laura. Ve cómo se está moviendo.
Later, they again hear laughter.
Ay, Dios mío. ¿Te vas a reír de mí por lo que voy a hacer?
Noting that all the windows are closed, they find a lifeless bird on the floor.
Están las ventanas cerradas, en verdad. Vean cómo está todo cerrado. ¿Cómo llegó aquí? ¿Cómo llegó aquí? Está fresco. La maldad que hay en este...
Is this a remnant of a satanic ritual performed here? I think it is, and if that's the case, they should get out pronto. This offering looks fresh. 9 out of 10 people do not immediately notice what's wrong with this handshake, so allow me to show you where to look. Trust me, you'll be sorry that I did.
Give me your hand.
I like cake, I just don't like the ice. That's my main.
This is someone's right hand, and yet they're on the left side. Also, look at their fingernails. They're facing the wrong way. How can this be? The answer isn't pretty. The condition is called hypermobility. Though the phrase double jointed is commonly used, it's mostly genetic, meaning you are either born with this unusually large range of movement or not. Only 20% of people have it, though typically not to this degree, and there's no way for the rest of us to gain this talent, if you want to call it that, so don't even try to practice. Like most people, watching this video makes me feel like my fingers are going to fall off. Tell me if you would be able to shake the hand of someone with hypermobility while they were doing this. I mean, it's creepy, but also kind of cool. A YouTuber named Alyssa Cross is driving down a local road somewhere in the south when she comes across a person who she has never seen before acting quite strangely by the side of the road. You can hear the nervousness in Alyssa's voice as she and her friend agree that it looks like this person could have some sort of strange virus, zombie or not. One can only wonder how many other viral outbreaks began in this exact same casual style of conversation. It appears that if that's not the case, then this person is under the influence of something strong. Alyssa quietly drives past and leaves the stranger behind. Humanoids apparently come in all different sizes. The one in this video is mistakenly labeled as a goblin, though it looks completely human except for its height. The supposed goblin in this video is shorter than 1 brick tall. It peeks around from behind a wall and quickly disappears once it sees the camera. The camera follows it to the other side of the wall and finds a tiny hole that the humanoid must have escaped into. If it wasn't for the video, this supposed goblin would not have left a trace behind. Look what happens when this ghost investigator decides to confront the spirit of a person who supposedly took another man's life in this room.
Did you shoot that man? Did you shoot him because you were scared?
A pale figure peeks out from the doorway. As soon as its presence is called upon, no one seems to notice, probably because it was so low. Is this the spirit they are looking for, or just some light hitting the hall at a weird angle? A strange sighting over the sky in Ireland was posted on October 5th of 2011, and the creepy, mysterious things found in this footage cannot be explained to this day. The strange objects have a weird vapor trailing behind them, and they seem to be falling to the ground at a slow rate of speed. Somebody said these lights could be flares, and I wanted to get your opinion of if you think that's the case or not. I don't see or hear any aircraft that could have deployed them, so I have no idea what to make of these strange lights from above. This home security video shows 2 bright orbs hovering over some bikes in Carolina Beecher's front yard. She watches in silent amazement as the lights remain fixed in place, close to where you would grab the handlebars. The only explanation I have besides spirits is perhaps a dual reflection of the car's brake lights. That still doesn't explain how they float all around though, while the car lights remain stationary. At times the lights even seem to join together and become one. While this doesn't look like your classic unidentified flying object, it certainly is one. Published by Arte Morbid in April of 2022, this scary video captured something hovering over a street in Mexico City. Security camera footage shows a dark object floating down the center of the street about a foot above the pavement. While the uploader thought it was a mylar balloon at first, a closer look had him second guessing. He notes that it has a shadow and sometimes moves in a slight rotation. Some of the comments still think it's a mylar balloon or a drone. Others think it's CGI. One commenter says it looks like it's morphing in and out. Do you have any other theories? I think there's certainly something mysterious going on here. Adam Grayson is making a YouTube video at the hospital after a reaction causes his entire hand to swell. His wedding ring presses into flesh of his finger hard enough to cut off the circulation. Now a surgeon has to cut through the thin band of metal with only a trained eye and a tiny circular saw. One slip will make the situation 10 times worse.
Ah, that's hot.
The friction from the saw creates such an intense heat that nurses must repeatedly squirt water on the ring to cool it off. They really do have to delicately cleave through every last millimeter of the ring to get it off. Here you can just see how close they have to get to Adam's finger before they are able to pry it off. Adam's finger is red and tender. When they are finally finished with the procedure, there is no doubt that in my mind that he would have eventually lost an index finger had he not gotten to the hospital in time. A group of ghost hunters are exploring a notoriously haunted retirement home in Ohio at 1 a.m. when they manage to find something strange and unsettling.
To the bathroom. Here it is again at half speed.
One of the ghost hunters barely manages to catch this fleeting shadow while turning around. The room to the right is completely empty and nobody is inside, plus everybody else is in a different section of the house. It doesn't look like the camera is simply adjusting to different lighting conditions, so there really is absolutely no reason for a shadow to be on the right side of the screen like that. To me, it looks like something is possibly making a quick escape. This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. This is the last thing you would want to see in the middle of the road at night. Published to YouTube by Christian Garcia in October of 2017. This clip is titled "Witch on the Road." The footage shows a motorcyclist driving on dirt roads in the middle of the night. After a time, he comes across a person sitting on the side of the road in the darkness. The person is wearing blue pants, a white shirt, and has gray hair. She doesn't look up, even with the headlights of the motorcycle spotlighting her. The cyclist takes off, but then decides to turn around again. They approach the witch, say hello, and ask what her name is. When they receive no real response,
Hola, señora.
They drive off into the night, leaving this person, or witch as they say, in the darkness on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. What would you do in just such a situation? YouTuber Mario Batanker2 writes in the comments, ghost or non-ghost, it's always a little disquieting if not disturbing, being in a place so far dark and alone. I think this video generates more sensations than many super elaborate videos that come up in such situations. What sensations do you feel? I feel terrified. If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Bartonall writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? Amy Admin wonders if an actual apparition was caught on home security camera haunting her place. Her strange sighting happened at 7 in the morning. A vaguely human-shaped figure walks to the curb and mysteriously disappears. Some scary stuff is going on across the street from her house, or is it? Perhaps it is a reflection of a car hitting the brakes. The alleged apparition does seem to come and go with the appearance of a car. The only problem with this theory is that there's nothing here for the brake lights to reflect off of. Maybe a piece of glass on the ground or something. So what's been caught on tape, paranormal activity, or a trick of light? I don't know, and now I'm as creeped out as Amy Admin is. Carly Oaxaca has a 2-year-old daughter who refuses to enter a certain room in the house at any time, day or night. She stands at the entrance and timidly looks around with her hand covering her mouth, not even daring to go inside when her mother asks,
"Wanna come in here?" Okay, it's okay. Mommy will come out.
Years later, when their daughter could talk more clearly, she would go on to recall a scary man who lived in the closet. He had red eyes and an all red and black face. Let me know if you think this is really what she was seeing in this video, or if the child is simply making up a scary story to trick her parents. I will add that, according to the uploader, this was not the only strange occurrence to take place in their household. Her son would describe a boy named Marcus, who would try and play with him sometimes. All family members would also get deep red scratches around the arms a lot for no reason at all. Eventually, they moved and have not been bothered since. A YouTube series called The Undervlogs follows Rachel, Kiva, Tyler, and Derek on their various adventures. This time, they're split up on a competitive scavenger hunt, checklist and all, in a creepy 1908 children's hospital that's been abandoned since 1998. Tyler and Derek are goofing around, but things become tense when they notice a creepy clown head with dripping red eyes that could be a warning of what's about to come their way. They sense something wrong and run away, and that's when, approximately 10 seconds later, this shadowy figure looks out at them, roughly the same height as the clown graffiti in the doorway, so I'm glad they followed their instincts and left fast. Want to see a magic trick right before your very own eyes? TikToker Vincent L.A. Jordan has one for you. Watch for the guy in the red shirt. Everyone's wondering where he came from. He seems to materialize out of thin air as the ladies walk forward. Watch again closely. My theory is that he's Doctor Strange, or he teleported there. Is there any more logical explanation? Warning to young explorers, don't enter abandoned malls at night. Jaskin Ho published this footage in September of 2018, illustrating exactly why. Explaining that the mall in question is Charlestown Outlet Mall in the US, he writes, "This is an older video I thought I'd drop for you guys. The mall closed for good over 30 years ago, and I did record a video here before, but there was talk about the basement level, so we went in. While the first 9 minutes reveal your typical exploring of the abandoned mall, 9 minutes in, one of the crew peers into a dark room beyond, and that's when he hightails it out of there, followed closely by the rest." One of the bunch says they were running for nearly 5 minutes. According to the one who first ran, he saw someone in the room beyond. Although the video didn't capture the figure, we can only imagine what this group came across. And with that in mind, I think they made the right choice getting out of there ASAP. Jessie Sims and her friend use a Ouija board only to discover they are surrounded by 3 spirits. She claims to get dizzy and asks if it's a good spirit she's talking to. The spirit gives them a negative response, so Jessie fights her panic and asks,
"Is this Zozo?"
The pointer stays over no. It's not Zozo after all. Still, they both have a bad feeling, so they decide to ask,
"What do you want from us?" "Shut up."
"You," the ghost responds. A short while later, Jesse's nose begins to gush red. This room was where a man sadly ended his own life. Now his spirit is thought to be trapped in the home with no way out. They are recording a few feet from where he was found when they detect movement in the corner. Tell me if you see it because I had to watch this video twice before I did. A small shadow goes by so fast that it is almost impossible to notice without slowing down the speed. They are shining a flashlight into a pitch black room, so there really is nothing moving in front of them that would cast a shadow. In 2010, a mysterious creature sighting was caught on a GoPro camera in Ontario at Algonquin Park. A large shadowy figure unsuccessfully attempts to conceal itself amongst the scenery, too tall to be a shrub and too wide to be a human. There's always the possibility that this is a mannequin and that the video is fake, but if not, then what could this strange roadside creature sighting along the woods possibly be?
Archie Dennis is the name of a Philadelphia man who lives in what he believes is an extremely haunted home. He and his family have been dealing with whatever's down there for more than 7 years. It's all well documented on their YouTube channel. I encourage you to watch all the evidence for yourself, but for now, Chills has picked out some videos to help get you started, ones that make me the most curious. This early encounter takes place on May 17th, 2013, back when he was less used to it and more afraid. Archie is looking down the steps when something on his spirit box encourages him to go in there, followed by a mysterious phrase in another language that I need your help to translate. "You are demon. You are a demon," Archie says down the steps. It sounds like a statement, but it's actually a question. Something he has always wanted to know. It never says anything back, but this time it does show a sign that yes, it is one indeed.
You are demon?
The light turns on behind him, even though he is nowhere near the switch, and it continues to do so as he films in stunned amazement.
Who are you? Say your name.
Suddenly, his cats rush up the steps like they are running away from something, though I suspect they could have been chasing each other. He crosses the room at 1 minute and 48 seconds. The lights seem to move on their own while an orb also comes close. It can't be him moving the lights because one hand is on the camera and the other is flipping the switch to no avail. I was thinking that maybe somebody was controlling the real light switch from the other room, but at 1 minute and 58 seconds the light seems to glow even brighter than before, and he sounds noticeably upset as he steps away.
Oh man.
His fear has probably emboldened the spirit and things have gone way too far if you ask me. He should leave it by now, but day after day, our key continues to ask the spirit if it was a demon whenever he thinks it's near, pestering it with the same question for weeks on end. Finally, on December 16th, 2014, it gives a clear response, and I'm talking more than a simple yes or no.
Are you a demon?
The way it answers in a full sentence exactly 5 seconds after being asked is all about the paranormal proof I need to conclude this is real. But I haven't even shown you the weirdest video yet. By October 12th of 2019, the spirit has moved out of the basement and seems fixated with his children. The EMF meter is relatively normal until it passes over his crib, and I think we might be seeing a possession in real time.
2.9, that's for my baby. 3.7, 3.9, 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, 9. Oh man, this is incredible.
And his newborn baby is not the only one affected. The spirit seems to hover around his daughter as well. The way it appears from behind, goes to the side, and then appears to admire her is going way too far if you ask me. I don't know why Arki hasn't moved out yet, but I suspect that he may be strangely obsessed with studying it, and at this point possibly even has become sentimental. Maybe it has gotten into his mind, much like it has his family, and convinced him to let it stay. This final CCTV video is when Arki gets all of the evidence that he needs. I don't know if this is editing or not, but one day he is organizing his closet when a shadow figure stands over him and makes him cower in fear. If this last video is real, which I think it could be given everything else that's happened, then I guess it proves talking to a demon for over 5 years is, in fact, going way too far.
Not everybody in India is a believer of the spirit world. Varun Kati seeks to dispel the legends behind the most haunted places in his home country. One such debunking video of him exploring some spooky abandoned buildings in the woods left him scared but still somewhat skeptical. He goes exploring the abandoned buildings one by one, whistling and taunting for any spirits to make themselves known. Less than 30 seconds later, he gets a reminder as to why provoking the paranormal is a recipe for scary things in the woods caught on camera.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
A loud moan rings across the treetops, a scary noise from the woods that even Varun has to admit is strange enough to give pause. He gets a really bad feeling that says it wasn't paranormal, just afraid of a wild animal or something, and he gets out of there quickly. I think this brave explorer might be unwilling to admit that he just caught strange and scary evidence of paranormal EVPs caught on tape. He says this could be a monkey, but let me know if you agree. Here's another listen. It sounds like a ghost haunting the woods to me. Either way, ghost or animal, both possibilities sound terrifying. Luna Meow has a natural ability to communicate with the paranormal that she intends to explore to the fullest on her ghost hunting channel by the same name.
Guys, to turn on the flashlight that's next to me. Please. Do you think you can do that? How many of you were married when you... Okay. I don't like that. That's scary.
At 17 seconds, she appears to feel a presence draw near, and when she looks over her shoulder a second time, the flashlight is on. It doesn't look like anyone is nearby, at least nobody who is alive. The object just turns on by itself like a ghost touches it.
Turn the flashlight on.
They aren't interested in answering any more questions and simply turn the flashlight off without further interaction. Maybe they just wanted to let Luna know that they were here, watching. During a different investigation, Luna and some friends try to summon a spirit, and it just might have worked.
Oh, look at it, look at it.
Thank you. You know other people are here, aren't you? Don't you?
Does the doorbell make you happy?
But perhaps the creepiest video of all comes from the Omen House in Beverly Hills, California. This is where a nefarious group gained access to a famous celebrity's home, and she did not last against them for long. Their paranormal equipment detects the motion of a spirit nearby, though it could be detecting the movement of this ghost hunter picking up the K2 meter at 5 seconds. Still, if you look very closely, the K2 meter detects a spike of paranormal energy at the same time the motion sensors go off, and shortly thereafter this mysterious blue light sweeps across the room that they all swear was not a flashlight. I have my doubts about this until one of the team bangs a shelf and jumps up and down to demonstrate that all of the items on this shelf are stable, but as soon as he walks away, this object falls over by itself, something which apparently happens all the time.
You want to show them one more time? A final goodbye before they all leave? Or are you just gonna keep doing this? They're gonna jump.
The same exact object falls over all by itself. On one hand, the same object moving twice could be a sign of a ghost manipulating objects at will, but on the other hand, maybe this toy is simply unbalanced and falls over on its own a lot. Still, the fact that it happens while he is walking away seems to suggest that this is the work of a ghost with selective intelligence who wants attention. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? Oh. 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. It's almost midnight when this YouTuber makes the mistake of going for a late night motorcycle ride, completely unaware of the paranormal activity about to be caught on camera. He sees a figure in white and slows down, suddenly feeling unsafe and vulnerable with a ghost in his sights.
दाना पानी बीच है रात के लेट हुए हैं डर लग रहा है दोस्तों
As he speeds away, he says the mysterious figure appears and disappears in the side view mirror. I kind of see what he's saying, but the mirror is so dirty that I'm not sure if this proves much of anything. Still, what this person is doing by themselves at midnight is anyone's guess. They They seem to be slowly looking for something, which is beyond creepy when you think about it. A YouTuber named AG is playing with her phone on the floor when her CCTV system records a bizarre and possibly paranormal display behind her. The strangely shaped phantom consists of little more than 2 arms and a head. The face is simply a single eye in the middle, almost like it's looking at her from the side. The video itself looks a little pixelated, so I guess this could be special effects, or maybe even the brief reflection of something against the wall, though of what I cannot say. Stranger still is how, out of everywhere else in the room, it appears directly behind her, almost like it's self-aware in choosing to do so. This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. So encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. A YouTuber named Jackwagon has many videos demonstrating his apparent ability to manipulate objects using nothing but his own energy force. Here he circles his hands over a lock while concentrating deeply. It isn't long before he gets results. Not only is Jack able to push the lock over without touching, he is also somehow able to keep it balanced at a weird angle for almost 10 full seconds before falling. The only explanation I have for this is if there was some kind of magnet underneath the table, which I guess is possible. Next, Jack takes a steel fork in both hands and envisions the utensil becoming soft like butter. He ties the fork in a knot with his bare hands in a few simple twists. I'm honestly not sure how hard this really is to do, but it sure looks difficult to me. I'd really like for someone to tell me if this is a real display of energy manipulation or just some kind of trick. Just by looking at the exterior of this house, you can tell it's clearly haunted. Published by Han Kardesler, these 3 paranormal investigators are doing a ritual just to make sure. Circling a small table with candles lit on top, the men are seen grasping the table and chanting a ritual, while noises are heard around them. Then outside they see this. A pale face in the window moves away. Back inside, the men are chanting around the table again, when a wheeled chair rolls into view. One of the men seems to be shocked by something unexplained and without a word walks away. The others follow him, uncertain of where he went. They find him outside standing at a distance in the darkness. He is suddenly snatched by someone and pulled from view. They find him in a strange stick hut and appear to talk him into normalcy. But what of the snatcher? Was this the work of the mad face in the window? I think so. A YouTuber named Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom wakes up at 3 a.m. after, in his words, he heard some deep thuds around his house. When he goes outside, he sees strange activity around the flagpole in his local graveyard. These bouncing balls of light streak across the sky without a sound or any clue as to what they are. Sometimes they are dim and sometimes they are much brighter. Somebody said that they could be bats, but I noticed the lights always seem to stay at about the height of a person. It can't be flashlights because they keep going out after a second. It's impossible to tell what it is from this distance, and I don't think he wants to get any closer. This list is full of stalkers, and they all seem to have one thing in common. They like to stand still outside people's homes, especially after receiving a note that said, "I'll see you here after 6 p.m. Remember, Mr. Slim." A few hours later, he heard someone or something outside his house. Camera in tow, he peered out his upper window. There was a man standing on the sidewalk below, wearing dark colors and what appeared to be a ski mask. As the boy dropped his camera to the left and then returned again back to the stalker, he found that the man had disappeared. So he did exactly what none of us would do. He raced downstairs to go outside and find the stalker, but the man was nowhere to be found. The boy said that he was starting to get worried and debated whether or not to tell his parents. Most in the comment section agree that he should, while others offer more sage advice. Next time, don't go outside. When unexplained shadows fall, your only recourse is to search for an answer. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, SammySam1870 writes, "It was 2:06 a.m. and there was no one walking around, nor were there any cars in sight when this mysterious shadow strolled across my security camera. The following day, I tried to figure out where it could have came from, but found no explanation. The security camera footage shows a black shadow cast upon the ground, moving across the screen. As the Redditor explains, nothing visible in the area is casting the shadow. So do we have a shadow figure on our hands, or is this just a bug caught at a weird angle? This unlucky fellow must have the strictest parents ever, because he's mowing his lawn in some pretty severe weather. A storm is rolling into St. Louis, Missouri, and things are about to get bad for him quickly."
Ellie, stay back.
Man!
His neighbor tells him to get inside, but he refuses. Apparently, he either doesn't know or doesn't care that pushing a big piece of metal under a bunch of trees is a recipe to attract lightning.
Hey, get inside!
Even after almost getting stuck, the defiant neighbor continues to mow his yard as the weather gets worse. That's when the person recording decides they are standing outside too and takes their own advice. This neighbor may have beaten out the elements this time, but I don't know how many storms they can weather before they learn their lesson the hard way. Definitely don't do what they do unless you want to wind up struck by lightning. Driving in the Himalayas can be beautiful, unless you're opposite an angry driver. Published by Extreme Out in July of 2016, this driver was descending the dangerous Rotang Pass from Manali to Leh when he crossed paths with a heavy truck moving in the opposite direction. The driver notes that everyone should be patient in such conditions because impatience can lead to lives lost. They didn't find patience in this truck driver though. The man writes that he dipped his lights on the narrow mountain road to indicate that the truck and car ahead should stop and let him pass if they had a wider road. The truck did not signal back, but the car indicated that there was space to cross and so he should move forward. After moving to the side, the car passes easily, but the truck is taking its time, which is understandable as you can see how bumpy the terrain is. However, it became clear that the truck driver apparently wasn't going to pass at all. After sitting for a moment, the uploader starts to reverse to give the truck a wider berth, and instead the truck drives right at him. He raises his hand for the truck driver to stop and then continues to back up on the dangerous road, which he notes is not easy. Again, instead of passing, the truck is directed at him. The game continues for a time until finally the truck passes. They stopped him to argue, wondering why he acted the way he did. Was it a threat out of spite, or did he really not have room to pass? From this angle, we will never know. When Joey Salvatore and his friends learn that their entire neighborhood is rumored to be haunted, they go to the local cemetery and try to get something on tape. They don't really find much and eventually come back home, but it looks like something found them and managed to attach itself to a friend named Roger. Now he is standing motionless with his back to them in a dark room, and they are too freaked out to do anything more than secretly record his reflection in a mirror. After a while, he sits down and stops moving completely, so they decide to put Roger in his room and check on him later. Roger is nowhere to be found, at least not at first.
Wait, turn the light on. What the Roger! I'm done.
They are totally freaking out when Roger comes wandering back into the room completely fine, wondering what had happened. The group feels unsafe at this point and has no choice but to send Roger on his way. Eventually, Roger says that he was just playing a joke on them, but it's unclear if he really means it or if he is just in denial. This short video will send you running for the hills. Posted to Instagram by para_noid_normal. This video shows a woman tearing down an alleyway in fear. A second later, you see why. What is that creature? Those in the comments have some theories. After creeping down the alleyway, she lays on the ground for some reason and doesn't get up again. Then she simply disappears. In my opinion, the creature looks like a skinwalker. What do you think? A YouTuber named Terrapin Joe has handcrafted a collection of sailors that, when activated together, fills the house with a shrieking laughter that can drive you insane. Maybe this is just a part of the sound sample being used, but I think I can hear one of them screaming louder than the rest here at 36 seconds into the video. Not only that, but the eye of this one becomes totally black at 46 seconds before going back to normal, almost like it's giving you a wink. Is there something in the attic? Redditor Air suspects so. After hearing tapping on the attic wall, they meet it with Sage. And this is what they captured. What was that sound? I tend to agree with Titus that this sounds like a metallic spring bang, but that doesn't necessarily negate a paranormal presence. Perhaps the spirit's just jumping up and down on the bed. Redditor Comfortable Cry 8097 heard a noise while in bed. When she checked out her Ring camera the next morning, this is what she saw. First, a noise is heard. Now watch the back center near the banister. What is that? To most in the comments, it looks like a full-bodied ghost, and it sounds like it's causing even more mayhem in the home. According to the Redditor, the figure was heading toward her bedroom, but the door remained shut. Well, most agree that it's a ghost, and I concur. Some suggest this could be a compressed artifact or some other camera glitch, but what of the noise? That one is not so easily explained. Redditor HD Gun posted this footage to the Ghosts subreddit. The video shows a semi-transparent figure rush past. The figure is short in stature and appears to enter from behind some plants near the home's fence. Of course, Redditors have some theories. Well, I'm not sure that I agree it's a parrot. I do think it's an animal. You can see there's a blur, smudge, or lens flare on the lower portion of the camera, which is probably why the figure looked blurred, but to me the figure looks like it's walking, not flying. While it could very well be paranormal, the way it's moving looks like how a monkey walks to me. So I'm thinking now there's a possibility it's a wild animal, but why would it look like this on camera? This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, sabe que eu vi na janela. Ô, Sandro, por Deus do céu. O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade. O que você viu? Sandro, eu vi. O que você viu, louco? Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, viado. Sandro, calma, Dani. Isso aí, homem.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho. Olhando. Vai ser lascado. Cara, bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo aí na frente. Olha! Olha, Sandro. Olha onde que voa essa cadeira. Sai daqui, ó. Nossa, Sandro. Nossa, Nossa Senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us.
Wait. That's the moon on the right. So what the that?
A TikToker named Zandorf looks up to see a large object dwarfing the moon.
Oh yeah, it is. It does do it on mine. You just have to line it up right.
It's not a street lamp because there's nothing underneath of it. Stranger still, the moon isn't even visible on his friend's phone when he tries to take a picture. So is Zandorf really telling the truth?
You don't see anything. Like we need to take a picture of like the difference.
That's so weird. What the there it is. Look.
I think that the larger object could actually be the real moon, which makes the smaller circle a lens flare. This is the only explanation that makes sense to me, unless he really was looking at something much larger and many times brighter than the moon itself. A kid is checking out his loose tooth in the mirror when his reflection appears to move away before he does. It happens in a split second, so you have to look closely to see it. Maybe it's just the angle, but the reflection really does appear to lean away while the child himself remains stationary. Everything from an optical illusion to a haunted mirror has been proposed with no concrete answer. So if you know the proper explanation, then be sure to let me know. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.